It's nice and quiet today at the warehouse. The team is out at a project and I am here to pack for our project that we're gonna be working on. I'm so excited because I have found some amazing pieces in my inventory. And you know, it's one of those things when you're a designer, home stager, any little table lamp, any little accessory or pillow actually excites you. And I'm so glad that you and I share the same passion. I know that you guys wanna know more details about how to build your inventory. As a special feature for today's video, I'm gonna show you basically how many products and how many pieces of accessories you would need for a house this size and with the amount of wall units that they have. So we'll go through room by room and I'll tell you how many you need, and I'll also touch on a little bit of budgeting for accessories because accessories are the main focus of a room. You can put furniture in any room, but until you accessorize it, you have not brought in character and warmth. This is a big aspect of staging. You will need a wide range of accessories to complete your project and make your staging look that much nicer. Guys, really anybody can just come into a house and move some furniture around, put a little rug there and say this room is staged. But until you learn my method and why I do some of the things that I do, your house, your staging is not going to be complete because it is in all of the fine details that you put into that room to make it perfection. So first thing you need when you are packing for your accessories is you need your trusty phone or any other device that has all of your photos from your consultation on there. So I'm looking at this office and what I see is like a concrete wall with black frame shelving and you have this sideboard at the bottom. Now there's two ways to stage this. One is you make it full and really, you know, create an impact, or you do it more lightly. So you use less pieces and you scatter them around because sometimes too much can be too much. What I decided to do for this wall unit is to go somewhere in between, not too full and not too empty. And the reason for that is the cost of the house, the price that I'm charging my client to stage this house has to be considered, and obviously the overall look. So these three things considered, I've decided that I'm going to use some of these pieces, which I'll show you now. Okay, so I've just counted my shelves and I have about 20 shelves that I'm going to have to work with. You have the two outer shelves, which are very small. Treat this as the framing of this feature wall. So we're not actually going to put anything in there. If you wanted to do this very full, what I would recommend doing is putting in some books and even just keeping up with the black or black and white, and you just kind of stack them in on the corners. We're not going to be doing that. So that can be an option for you. Now I'm going to take my 10 pieces on each side and I'm going to scatter it around. So instead of doing half of it, I'll do just about, say, 70% of the shelves. So out of 10, we're gonna attack 7 of them on each side of the wall. This means out of 20, we're missing 6 shelves, which is fine because you'll have the cement wall behind it and all of the other details of this wall unit. You don't need to do more. So let's get to it. And now we have our pieces picked out, and I'm going to explain to you why I picked these specific pieces. The goal is here to make this office look elegant as well as creating contrast. So my contrast is to kind of follow suit with the black theme. We have the blacks, we have some brass finishes, and I picked some neutral finishes as well, like this one in the glass. Now on each shelf, we have about 12 to 14 inches of space to work with. As you see, all of these pieces, nothing is too narrow. They're all kind of within the 10-inch to 12-inch range so that you can easily fit them in your shelves. And that's definitely something you need to consider when you're styling your shelf. the size. Size does matter, because if you take the wrong size accessory, it will not fit in your shelf, and then you're going to be left with empty spaces that you probably need to go back to the warehouse and get more stuff. With my wall unit, I have some shelves that are a little bit taller, so they're more rectangled. Those shelves need taller pieces, and in that case, I picked this guy over here, again following suit with the black, and I have these candle holders that I don't necessarily want to put any candles in. I just like the piece, I like how it looks, and I know that in my wall unit, it's just going to create extra lines and some more added abstract, which is a nice feature. The books I picked in gold. I could have done black, but I feel like everything would have just been black. And why didn't I choose white? We're gonna get back to that. But going back to our books, this is a nice contrast against the wall, whether I'm gonna stand it up or lay it flat and put a accessory on it. Either way it works. We have another piece over here. I don't want to overdo it with the books. I do want to keep it a little bit more clean looking. And then we have this guy right here, which I'm going to just put low profile in one of the shelves. So this piece right here is considered a neutral accessory, where it's not so big, it's not so bulky, it doesn't grab a lot of attention, it fills up the space but keeps it still looking airy. Another neutral accessory I picked is this glass vase over here. And this is phenomenal because I picked these pieces that are dried kind of little, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, some kind of organic dried thing, but they look really cool, and I love the color. It's a dark green, which we've done on our bowl as well, our tray. These go in here. It doesn't create a lot of contrast, it just gives a little bit of color there, bringing in the natural elements with the concrete behind us and that organic feel. This is a great choice when you have a lot of shelving. Consider doing something like this, of a clear glass vase with some neutral accessories inside. So everything we've picked here is more muted. Nothing is too vibrant and too colorful, because again, when you look at the design of this office, it's very elegant yet industrial at the same time. So we want to keep up with that look. Our pieces should be elegant, but on its own should be interesting. The overall goal here is to create interest without being too overboard with our pieces. Something I love to do is to use pieces like this. So this is a mirror insert, but it has a black and gold frame around it. And it's an interesting piece. So when I put two of these on either side of the wall unit, and I'm not going to put them leveled, I'm going to stagger them. So one's going to be on lower and then the other one's going to be just a bit higher. And this is going to, one, create interest, make the space look cooler without being too catchy, as in like saying having a red piece in the wall unit. Again, the goal is here to keep up with that luxury look, but kind of bring in that more modern industrial look as well. So now I have a few more shelves that I need to fill up. I picked these black pieces and I'm going to put one of these in each shelf. I don't need to add pieces with it because it still has height. It's pretty substantial, but I like how it's kind of see-through. It's not another big black bulky piece. So you will actually see the cement wall from behind this when I place it on the shelf. And I have two of them. I'm going to play with it, maybe put it like this, one in front, one behind, or do them both separately on separate shelves, but we'll decide that when we get there. And my last piece is one of my favorites, this gorgeous sea urchin. And I love to use this on coffee tables, end tables, wall units where it fits. So this is gonna look fantastic in one of the shelves. And I wanna point out something else. I like to have books in my stagings. I feel that it makes the space more relatable because many people read books and it accessorizes nicely and it allows them to relate to your space. So in having a lot of books, books can get expensive. So what do? You go to a thrift store or somewhere where they're selling used books and you grab whatever books that you can and you come home and you start wrapping them. This is actually wrapped in a thicker paper that, well, this one is a metallic gold, but we also have them in black and white. And I like to do this where some of my rooms are more neutral and I want to kind of maintain that luxury, clean aesthetic. I use just two, like a black and white or black and gold or gold and white, depending on my room, depending on the space, but I don't use color. So in this case, so this is a great way to get cheap books, wrap them up, you glue the edges. So you basically just put the book flat down, you cut out the size you need, and then you start gluing the edges, fold it over, and you have a perfectly good book to use in your staging. It goes a long way. Friendly tip. So guys, now you're ready to get started and you need all of this stuff. When you're dealing with a project like this and you have a wall unit that you need to stage, consider these will be your pieces. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pieces with some books. If I were to go out right now and purchase these pieces, I would be spending somewhere around, and I'm going to say this in Canadian dollars, somewhere around the $500 mark. It does go a long way because in a matter of say 3 to 4 projects, you're paying it off and it's fine. You need to build your inventory. But where do you go to find pieces like this? That's important because there's a lot of places that have accessories, but they're not quality accessories. And I want you to have your eyes open because when you go shopping, don't just choose whatever you think, oh, this looks nice, oh, this looks pretty. No, you're thinking business only. And what is gonna be versatile enough that I can use in at least 3 or 4 out of my 5 projects that come my way. And now, where do you get these pieces? These pieces were purchased from HomeSense Canada, and that is in Canada. So a lot of you ask me, where do you get your pieces? I say HomeSense. HomeSense is in Canada. What you have in the States is Home Goods, and they're the same company, but just different locations, different names. But same special pieces because I have been to both and I've seen similar pieces or the exact pieces at both stores. So what these guys do is they take basically overstock from other companies and they bring it into HomeSense or Home Goods and they sell it to the public because it's sold in masses. All of these pieces are good quality pieces and you can tell that by just feeling it, looking at it. You don't want to go with flimsy pieces. Substantial pieces that will work and last you a long time. So if you come across a piece that's super thin glass, don't get it because chances are within once or twice in your staging project, it's going to be gone after that. Broken, done. So just for an example, each one of these candle holders were $24.99. Plus HST, we have 13% taxes. $24.99, the piece looks good. It will work in many of my projects. I can use it on a console table. I can use it in a shelf. I can use it on an end table or even on a dining table if I stack them. So that piece is good. But if you come across pieces that look good and you think, this looks good. Wow, it's $1,000. Should I get this? No, honey, you don't need to get this. This, you can probably find something similar to it at a Home Goods or at a HomeSense and you don't have to spend the money. So when you're shopping, keep the cost as low as possible, but don't sacrifice on the quality. So I do definitely recommend you go to one of the stores that I just mentioned, depending on your area, and you find your accessories there. This is a one-stop shop where you get your accessories, pillows, bedding, even some furniture, if you get lucky. My favorite organic pieces to start with. Starting with an arrangement that can go on a console table or a dining table, like this one. I like to use this piece here in rooms that I want to bring in warmth because it has the concrete finish and the live greenery on top. It's a perfect piece for end tables, bookshelves, or even to add some accents on your coffee table. If you want to bring some life to your kitchen, this is a fantastic piece to use because it's neutral with the glass, but at the same time, you're adding some organic pieces inside to create some warmth and interest. Grab any tray and put in some greenery and some organic pieces like this, and you are actually warming up your space so much. This can be on a console table, coffee table, or even a countertop. And lastly, this piece right here is fantastic for any space that you want to open up and make airy, but bring in some organics at the same time. Place it in a vase and you're good to go. And here we are, the final reveal of our office accessories. And it turned out so nice, exactly how I thought it would turn out. We moved some things around, but let me just show you what we did here to really accentuate this wall without overdoing it, without it becoming overbearing, because you already have so much information here that our accessories should just be an add-on and not the whole effect of this beautiful wall. Now, I totally get it. Dealing with a space like this, it can get so overwhelming, but you need to have a plan. And that's the importance of having photos when you come for your consultation. Because then when you're going through your photos, you can look at your accessory wall and say, okay, I need to come up with a plan. And the plan for here, as I told you before, was to keep the colors harmonious so they flow nicely together and they don't distract the space too much. So what are the elements I'm dealing with here? I have this cement looking wall, which is actually wallpaper. We have the black shelving and we have our wooden cabinetry. So what we did was picked a lot of black pieces so that they're not fighting each other. Now, some of them are matching. As you can see, we have this one here and we have another one on that side. And it's nice to do similar pieces together, and you don't have to have them exactly on the same shelf. You can kind of stack them. So it's an up and down kind of effect, which we've done here. And then if you can see our mirrors, we put one over there and one over here, which is really nice too because they're neutral, but they have a black frame, and the glass part of it makes it look more airy. That mirrored image is not so distracting, but it's just a subtle add-on to what you create on your wall unit. I love using mirrors or artwork. So if you get a chance to do that and your wall unit has the space for it, definitely consider doing a piece like this. Now you might think one accessory piece is enough for a shelf, and that really all depends on the size of your shelf, because when you have a smaller shelf like this, one larger piece will be completely enough. But then when you come to a shelf like this, which is more horizontal, one piece is not going to be enough for this. So we decided to stack them and use our tray that I showed you before with some of the greenery in it on the back, just so it fills up this space. And then we did one piece right in front of it in a brass finish, just to make it a little bit more exciting. But again, not so colorful, not so flamboyant. Stick within 2 to 3 to maybe even 4 different finishes, and play with that throughout your whole wall unit. Giving our wall unit a little bit of a punch, we did that by using our gold books that we've covered. And this is really fantastic because it gives a little bit of a punch, it adds to your wall unit, and you don't have the original cover so that it's all colorful. You're within the same color scheme that you started with. You can do them in black, white, gold. We ended up using our gold ones because the gold with the black on top of it just works out so well together. And your books, you can use them really in different configurations. You can either stand them up or you can lay them flat. And if you lay them flat, it's nice to put an accessory piece on them like this. If you just leave the book by itself, it looks kind of bare still. So when you put a piece on top of it, you see the book underneath, you have a piece on top. It just adds to that whole look that we're trying to achieve, which is really cool, really trendy, and not so busy looking, because using a lot of books in your wall unit can make your wall unit look too busy. And I mean, that can distract people. You want them to see the whole picture here versus looking at how many books you have in there or how many different colors. So stick within your color scheme, have a certain design in mind. If it's modern, stick with your modern pieces. If it's contemporary, do contemporary. Just to give you a little idea about the pricing to stage a wall unit like this with accessories, you're looking between $300 to $400 for all of these accessories. And that's if you go to like a Home Sense or a Home Goods. Find your little pieces. Again, make sure your colors are matching, make sure the styles are matching. They kind of work harmoniously together. And then that's all you're gonna be spending on something like this. It's not so expensive, but it makes all the difference. Please do not style a house, stage a house, and leave it bare and empty or put 1 or 2 little pieces. This is an area where you're showing your client quality and your attention to detail. So make sure it's a full stage versus a half stage, unless you're charging for a half stage, because then you can charge for a half stage. But if you're giving a full package to a client, if this was my house, I would expect to walk in here and see majority of the shelves filled up. And the reason that I didn't go all the way up is because it could just get to be too much. I feel like with this wall unit in particular, because of all of the details that are already in the shelf, in the design of this room, it would have been way too much for me to take the accessories all the way up. Plus they have the smoke shelving here, which really makes the space look more finished. And I definitely like that about it. Consider this for your next project when you're accessorizing a wall unit on how to start, what to look at, and how to place them all together so that they flow so nicely and so harmoniously together.